And I tell them any practice is better than no practice. But for example, there's a website where you can do fill in the blanks from the reading section. Okay, but when you get to the question, it's the same paragraph as on the exam, except it has 10 or 12 or 14 words that are blanked out. Okay, whereas when you do the real exam question, it only has 4 or 5 blanks or 6 blanks at most. So what does that mean? Hi guys, Alex here again. So we've already covered in the earlier videos that you just watched, we've already covered how to get 90 in the speaking section of the PTE exam and how to get 90 in the writing section. So now reading section. Reading, I have a lot of fun with reading because before, let's say January of 2018, reading was really, really tough. It was unheard of for anybody to get 90 in reading. They must have been really, really intelligent, really well read. They must have had great vocabulary. Now, since January 2018, personally, our center in Sydney and in Melbourne, likewise, we've had more people get 90 or 85 plus in reading than we've ever had before. So there's 2 reasons for that. First one is that they made the reading section a little bit easier. I'll explain how in a little bit. And then the second thing is, again, a lot of the questions that I've been using on the exam are more common sense as opposed to before having really tough academic vocabulary. So how do you get 90 in reading? The biggest thing I can tell you, and that's going to sound very obvious, is practice, practice, practice. Okay, so the questions that you practice in class or at home, you need to practice the precise material, the right material that actually comes into your exam, because it's much easier to score perfectly on a question that you're repeating. So repetition and recognition are the 2 most important things. Personally, I tell my students I'm very straightforward. The first day they come here to do reading, I tell them I cannot teach you perfect English grammar in 1 week or even in 4 weeks. I cannot teach you 5,000 words of English vocabulary in a week or 4 weeks. So anybody that tells you that by improving your grammar in 1 week or by teaching you this and this vocabulary in 1 week, you're going to get 90 in reading, I'm sorry, that's unfortunately not true. So reading just comes down to repetition and recognition. And again, the second thing that's most important in reading is using precise material. Again, you guys know I'm not a fan of PTE blogs and Facebook groups and YouTube videos from gurus and masters who supposedly got 90 in the exam. So it's very, very important that you practice the precise material in the exam. There are some websites, for example, that students come and ask me if it's a good place to practice. And I tell them any practice is better than no practice. But for example, there's a website where you can do fill in the blanks from the reading section. Okay? But when you get to the question, it's the same paragraph as on the exam, except it has 10 or 12 or 14 words that are blanked out. Okay? Whereas when you do the real exam question, it only has 4 or 5 blanks or 6 blanks at most. So what does that mean? That means that the website may have the exact paragraph, but they don't know precisely which word is actually the blank word on the exam. What does that mean? That means that you're spending an extra 10-20 hours practicing this question, whereas you only need to do half the work. Okay, so figure out on the exam, the PTE Pearson, they have more than 200 questions for fill in the blanks, for the drop down questions, for the reading and writing, and for the drag and drop. All right, so if you're doing 200 questions and it's taking you 3 minutes each, but you're doing 12 options or 14 options instead of 5 or 6, you're spending an extra 10-20 hours doing unnecessary work, filling your head with unnecessary words. So please, the most important thing in reading is practice and recognition, so repetition and recognition. And the second is when you practice, you need to use the precise material. Last thing I want to cover is, a lot of people again don't know, but in the reading section itself, you get marks from the other sections. For example, in the speaking section, when you're doing read aloud, okay, you're not just speaking, you're reading and speaking at the same time, okay? Summarize written text in writing. A lot of people don't know this, you get tons of marks in reading, tons. So if you're not doing it the right way, you're missing out an extra 5, 10, 15% in your reading section. And again, there are some questions in the listening section as well, such as highlighting correct words, such as highlight correct summary. They give you marks in reading. So if you guys are not nailing them, if you're not doing a good job, if you don't know the strategies, you're leaving way too many marks in the reading section on the table. So again, those are the 3 things that I would suggest. Repetition, recognition, practice the precise material, and know what other sections give you marks in reading and how many marks you get so you can perform well on those. So best of luck. Again, subscribe to our channel, like our Facebook page. You can message me directly on our Facebook page. I personally check and answer to all the messages, and on YouTube as well. You can leave a comment with your specific question. I'm more than happy to help. So best of luck on your exam.